Alberto, Han, and Vince. We were just giving folks a few minutes to join. It is 5 after now. So I think we can get started. We got a nice crew of people, and if people want to wander in as we go, that's cool too. So we are recording this. The plan is to post this up on YouTube to share to the community so they can take a peek into the progress that we're making and see what to expect at the EOS Community Conference 2019 in Rio. My name's Daniel Keys. I'm COO and co-founder of EOS Nation, and very excited and proud to be hosting you guys to plan the agenda for the community conference. I think most of us know each other pretty well on this call, but maybe for the benefit of those who are watching, we can do a quick round of introductions. Maybe you want to start with you, Thiago?
Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining and watching. I'm Thiago. I'm co-founder and head of strategy for EOS Rio. We are co-hosts of the EOS Community Conference 2019 in Rio, along with EOS Argentina. There goes Chile.
You're on mute.
Hello guys, I'm Jesus Chitti, co-founder of EOS Argentina, also part of the team that is a co-host of this conference. I'm just really happy to be here and speak an agenda with the community.
And Han, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, this is Han from EOS Node 1. We were one of the first blog producers who hosted the first EOS Community Conference, and then we had such a good time back in Seoul, South Korea. And then we are so glad that EOS Rio and EOS Argentina is taking the lead to host it again, the second event in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I am really glad to be part of this initiative again.
Yeah, happy to have you. Adam.
I'm Adam. I'm the COO of EOS Detroit and one of its co-founders as well. We're going to be sponsoring the community conference here for 2019. So excited to be a part of it.
Awesome. Alberto.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alberto, CEO and founder of EOS Venezuela, one of the, I think, 3, not maybe 4 still block producers in Latin America. Very excited to be part of this. I think blockchain and crypto are especially important in our region, and I think this event should pretty much pump what we are looking to do on the industry in Latin America. I think it can be very beneficial, and there's a lot of opportunities around here. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Happy to have you. Rodolfo.
Hello guys, my name is Rodolfo. I work with EOS Costa Rica. Very excited to be here and help out with all this stuff of EOS Surf, and obviously excited to be there as well.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you.
Vince.
Hey guys, I'm Vince. I'm business developer here in EOS Rio, and I'll be helping Thiago to organize, especially the first day, the Rio Blockchain Conference, and then helping Thiago also to structure the EOS Community Conference. So anything you need to know about the event, you can contact us via Telegram. We'll be there to help you.
Awesome. And I see we have new joiner Megatron. Do you want to introduce yourself as well? And if not, that's fine too. If you want to just observe, that's cool. Did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody. All right. So let's get started. I think a good place to start, maybe if I turn it back to Thiago to talk a little bit about the high-level vision and maybe a little bit about the event venue that we're going to be hosting the community conference at. And from there, we can start talking about themes that we'd like to see, and then kind of start drilling down more granular to specific topics, speakers, structure of the day, those sorts of things. So maybe you can take it away, Thiago.
Awesome. Can I share my screen just to
Absolutely.
To things? Awesome. How can I do that?
At the bottom, in the middle, there should be a little green box with an arrow. Yeah.
Awesome. Here we go. So great, guys. Just to really quick present our vision for this event. We are actually scheduling a week of events and trying to get people to have both like knowing the city and enjoying just hanging out with each other, that we know that it's important for the community, and great things come from that. And also have like productive events that can actually drive growth and drive change for the EOS community as a whole. So we start on the 15th of October with a Rio Blockchain Conference, which is a general blockchain conference for the Brazilian audience. So this is like a gift from EOS community to the Brazilian society as a whole. We want to include people in this decentralization kind of movement and make them understand what's the impact and how they can already leverage blockchain and decentralization on their day-to-day lives, and kind of grow this ecosystem in Brazil. And obviously with that also growing the EOS ecosystem in Brazil. Then we have the EOS Community Conference. This is just to make the community come together and discuss the most pressing issues and just create like amazing solutions. We know the potential that we have as a community with such an amazing group of talented people. And when we are together and in the work mindset, things happen, and we want to get this energy going. And to start with the first day, that it's kind of a leveling day and where people kind of get ideas. And this is what we are discussing here today. What will be this first day? This is a series of basically keynotes and panels where we want to infuse as much information in people as we can and make them think, so that we have 2 unconference days on the 17th and 18th of October, where we'll really get together and work on debating the challenges, talking about possible solutions, and go on to build those solutions or to start building those solutions, so that we can have like tangible results from this week in Rio that we are together. Of course, later we want to have like this big party, this closing party, and everyone wanting to join us for the weekend is more than welcome. We have like awesome things to do during the weekend. And just to show you guys the venue, we are doing this in a co-creation with Museum of Tomorrow, which is like this awesome building, and also this museum with the concept of talking about the future and how humanity will solve our problems. So it makes a lot of sense to have a general blockchain conference there, and to bring the local community together to talk about the impacts of decentralization in this building of an abundant future. So we are very proud to have Museum of Tomorrow as a partner in this RBC. And of course, you are all invited to be there and to join the community. We'll have a network dinner, so people arriving earlier for the ACC will have amazing things to do also. And then we'll have the ACC on the Copacabana Palace, which is like the really iconic place in Rio. And that's what we are discussing here today. And I think that's it. That was my, I don't know, 5-minute pitch.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Those venues look awesome. And yeah, like you said, today's focus will be the EOS Community Conference. So yeah, let's get started. I think a good place to start is themes. You know, we can start with at a high level, and then once we have a theme, kind of things will lead into that. So what are everyone's thoughts here about theme? I think an obvious one is community, but yeah, would love to hear thoughts from everybody else.
Yeah,
If I may.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I don't know. I think in Latin America, these technologies are meant to be more than an alternative financial tool, more like solutions for many of the things. So taking advantage that Brazil is a very big populated, very important country in the entire region, I think something very important for this type of user is representing decentralization and blockchain as tools, like tangible tools for real solutions that are challenges in our society and our realities. I think that that could be something very, engaging and important for this conference. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I love that idea. Real tangible solutions, tools that people can actually see what in a understandable way to humans what the benefit of this technology is, and it resonates, with the issues that they're dealing with. I like that. Anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, I think that should probably be one of the main themes of the conference, like real use cases, especially if we can find social use cases for the use of the technology to, improve the quality of life of people in Latin America. I think being in Latin America and, showing the world how blockchain technology, how EOS can actually impact people here, I think that's going to be like a strong point to make.
Cool. Are there any particular problems that come to mind for those in Latin America that blockchain can solve? Is it pretty broad range, or are there, some very obvious specific things that this is potentially what we to focus on?
Well,
Yeah, there is a few. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
No, I think like stablecoins is always a good use case to talk about because in Argentina in the last 3 days we have like a 30% devaluation, and this is something that also occurs in Venezuela and other countries in the region. So stable currencies and how easy it is to get them and to use them is probably a good topic if we can get one of the guys that is actually actually doing stablecoin on EOS. That would be good. There is another couple of financial instruments that can be built on EOS. There's like a mutual loan credit system that is being built in Argentina. I think it's going to be that's also going to be a good use case to talk about. But I think those two we can get them on board pretty quick.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. And I know the Equilibrium guys are one of the supporters of this conference, so I'm sure we could get them on board with their stable coin. Sure. Great. Do we want to maybe take it back up any other high level themes, or do we want to keep it focused to use cases, or is there perhaps another theme we could also cover that's relevant in particular to the Latin American community and EOS as a whole?
Well, in Latin America, we have a lot of issues, regarding to transparency, decentralization, censorship, and this is something that this technology comes very handy. I know that some people were at least theorizing. I don't know if there's already some real, let's say, MVP or a tangible project. But I remember there are some people working into theorizing the impact of blockchain into, let's say, elections or politics or transparency under the public administration. For us in Venezuela, crypto is especially handy with censorship. I don't know if you guys are aware, but we have this very strict control of the economy from the government. So crypto is the only way that we could aspire to have a economic freedom or economic, we wouldn't be censored by these things. So these kind of topics gets very handy for our realities. I think the social programs or incentive are a very successful idea too. I think Karma, for example, has the app has have an incredible engagement and success in the Latin audiences. Well, us in Venezuela, we have specifically the use of case of Family EOS. That is this program that we open to funnel crypto donations for a social program of basic income and education of adopting a blockchain-based economy in Venezuela. Those kind of topics resonates a lot with our audience and our users, because for them it's like, okay, now I can see why I should kind of understand this or use it or become part of it.
Cool. Yeah, you brought up some really good specific topics there, and we're getting now also into actual tangible people we could consider to come speak on those topics. Tiago's taking notes. Did you catch all that in your notes? And worst comes to worst, we've got this recorded too, so we've got a record.
Here, I'll share it later.
Cool. And you mentioned voting. That's an interesting one. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the guys at followmyvote.com, I believe it is. They're working on EOS a voting platform, and they're planning to run. Hopefully, they're going to have an MVP ready to run alongside the 2020 U.S. presidential election as a proof of concept. And they got some really interesting technology they're working on. It might be cool to get them to talk about that.
Wow, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So I'll be in touch with them. What else? Anyone else have any thoughts related to themes or topics or potential speakers who could represent those topics?
Yeah, I was just remembering that we once brought Miles Snyder from Greymas to talk about stablecoins in Argentina. He did a great job. So maybe to talk about the theory of stablecoins, not just like, yeah, of course we can talk to Equilibrium as well, so they can show their products, but how they work. And, maybe for people in blockchain, stablecoins have become something very day-to-day, but, I'm assuming there's going to be other audiences as well. So maybe like an introduction to stablecoins. I'm sure I can, drop him a message, and he will probably be interested. And I know he will be attending Rio, so he could be a potential speaker.
That's awesome. A good idea. So there's like this idea of more high level introduction to the topic of, getting people to understand what is this thing. And then you can get more specific with the specific use cases after that. If we have people, hey, we actually have a stable coin and here's what it does, after you've actually learned what a stable coin is and how it works. So I like that idea.
My idea is that EOS mainnet has been launched for, it's been running for a little more than 1 year, right? 1 year and 2 months. And the landscape has been changed by a big time. So now being in top 21, there's mostly not those BPs in the top are not independent. They are mostly exchanges. So how they behave and then how they cast vote is very important. So I think it is best if exchanges show up and then share what they think. So what they want to achieve with EOS, what their outlooks on EOS, I think it is very much important. And what I hear is that, I don't know, there's a big major exchange shown an interest, perhaps shown an interest participating in this event, right?
Right.
Diego, right? Can you mention the specific name here in this recorded call?
Sorry.
So there was a big exchange. I'm not sure if I can reveal the name, but then I think I saw some name, a exchange name, who wants to participate, who wants to consider participating this event, right?
Is it ready to announce that, or is it still too early?
I mean, it's too early. We're talking to a lot of people, and for me it makes sense to have exchanges as a major stakeholder participating in this. And I think, I don't know if Han is saying specifically like, okay, we should have a governance track and have stakeholders talking about governance from their perspective, and in this kind of open and intellectually honest debate where we can say, okay, we have different interests in EOS as we have in the world, as we have here in this call. So we want stakeholders from each kind of background to discuss, so that we can hopefully arrive at better system. Is that it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So actually, if there's what will draw people's interest in EOS community particularly is their view, and then if the exchange will show up, and then there's a whole lot of more whales and community participants will show up, because it's exchanges, even dApps will be interested talking to.
Right. So it sounds like we've got two tracks here forming. We've got a use cases track and a governance track, which makes a lot of sense to me. I think those are two very important themes for EOS, and yeah, things definitely worth talking to and interesting.
Yeah. So one other, if what we just discussed was about track, adding the track, one of the track that I think it is relevant for this event happening in Rio, South America. So I see this in this chat group. I see many of you are from South America, right? But then me being from right exactly opposite side of the earth, South Korea, I know nothing. Right? I know nothing what's happening in Rio. I know nothing about what's happening in Venezuela. What I see is only what's on the newspaper. So actually, you guys having hard time in fiat economy, and then what kind of implication you are having, what kind of influence you are in the crypto world in South America has it's a very important topic. And although it might not be necessarily related to EOS, it's giving a whole lot of reason for all the foreign participants will want to come.
Right.
I agree. We can do maybe an introduction when we talk about the use cases, stable coins. We can do an introduction of the problems that Latin America is facing and how blockchain as a whole can help. This is something that we talk a lot about here, and it should be pretty easy to get someone to talk about it.
So also to add a little bit of angle to what you just mentioned, actually what you guys are experiencing there is something that is going to happen in other parts of the world too. So you are a few steps ahead of us.
Microcosm.
Yeah.
So do you envision that as its own track, or is that like a part of the use case track, kind of an introduction to the use case track?
I think it deserves a separate track. Like it deserves at least an hour or two, like from different speakers.
Yeah, I would maybe put that, and I actually put that on the document as like maybe even an opening kind of panel, so that we can give a view. And this is interesting that you brought that up, Han, and it's interesting to check the community interest on that, because I think it's interesting just to give okay, this is the overview of what's happening in Latin America. So people that come here will already gain this as an understanding of another part of the world. And I think that people in EOS are interested on that. in the sense that we are a global community, and that this actually creates opportunity, like large opportunities for blockchain and EOS. So I think this is I would understand that as a keynote that will kind of introduce the solutions, if we are talking about Latin American, the solutions. Because I don't think that we need a track like talking about what's happening here, because this is not a forum on Latin America. But as Hans said, to have like 30 minutes to 1 hour to just give people a view on the reality that we have and the opportunities that arise from that, I think it's awesome. Thanks for bringing that on. I really think it's great.
Yeah, and actually, we could actually maybe angle it with, you know, the topic of the Museum of Tomorrow. You know, we could angle this as, you know, the impact of blockchain or EOS or whatever we want to call it on the future. You know, taking Latin America as this regional sample. As Daniel said, we're pretty much far ahead into the possible crisis of the future for the entire global economy. So we could use this as an example of, you know, all the impacts that can be tangible or can be done for our realities, taking in mind these and these challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got a nice introduction to the problems at hand and the reality that we're facing in Latin America, and perhaps a peek into the future for the rest of the world, leading into the use cases that will hopefully solve these problems. And we've got governance that will help us achieve solving these problems. What else do we got? Anyone else have any either high-level themes or topics to add within one of these tracks, or ideas for speakers within any of these tracks?
What about like social impact or you know, something more towards social applications of the technology and the EOS ecosystem?
Yeah, is that something that maybe that you would see fitting in with the use case track? It's like or a more specific social track. And do you have any particular use cases in mind for that, or particular projects, or?
Well, I mean, for that we could be actually more creative, because I think many of the block producers, just to say an example, usually have some sort of social program or social development project. I think there's at least a few, you know, that we know. We could start to maybe, you know, like ask around and see if there are some gems that could be interesting to bring out. Or yeah, like at least I can talk a lot about our specific experience in Venezuela. We have these we have the Familias program, we have the remittance program, we have on censorship economic programs. So I mean, that's very relatable to us, I know. But in Latin America, I think there's probably more ideas and more projects around that topic. There's even a big conference called, how is it? Something for Humanity, that is specifically about crypto and blockchain projects that are focused on these social impact or topics. I think with a little bit of research, we could maybe find something interesting to just highlight.
Yeah, cool. Chidi, did you want to talk a little bit about, I see you posting in the chat here that you guys are working on something that might be a good use case to talk about?
Yeah, we're working on, it's actually, is an app that is already running on BitShares. It's called Moneda Par. It's mutual credits. It's basically credits without interest amongst peers. We're posting that to EOS. So I think it's a good case. You know, we could get someone from Moneda Par, which is, it's like a social DApp And we can also get Matthias to talk about the technical side of how the smart contract works, because we're actually building a smart contract so you can get credits and you can vouch for other people for those credits. And you know, it's a whole system that it has like a technical side, but it also has like a very social side. So I think that would be something really cool. That we're doing it all open source as well. So you know, anyone that goes to a conference and maybe wants to take it to their own country or you know replicate it, they can do it. And so I think that would be quite cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that does sound good. Okay. Anybody else have any themes to add? What about technology? So we've got kind of the use cases. We've got the governance on how to kind of organize ourselves to achieve these goals. What about the underlying technology? Is there? Do we want to talk about that, or do we want to keep it more to the kind of the social impacts, use cases?
What about, sorry, what about voice, like inviting Block One to pretty much, you know, have a node or some sort of presentation on voice? Because by that time, by the time of this conference should be out there, and this should be kind of a breakthrough on the technology and actually the social impact of it, of EOS and everything.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And there's a lot of new technology that is, you know, with 1.8 being launched, that's going to enable voice, and it's a perfect demonstration, a use case of, hey, here's how you can take advantage of this new technology and why you should care. I think if we could get somebody from Block One, or at least somebody who's intimately familiar with voice and the technology and the impacts of it, even if we can't get someone from Block One, I'm sure we could find somebody who could kind of speak to the impact of it. So I think that's a good idea. Anybody else have any in terms of topics and speakers?
I really like the technology part and just the thing about what's coming, what's the future? What are people working? What are we moving towards to?
Yeah.
And I really like the solutions part and the technology, because this is where we are strong, right? We are strong in the technology, and this is used to create the real solutions. So
yeah,
I think it's good to
scaling solutions, IBC, 3-second lib. There's all kinds of interesting topics, and I'm sure people that we could have represent those things.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
What do we think? Sorry.
Go ahead.
What do we think about the side chains participating on the conference? Like right now, you just mentioned like all these technological advancements that we have in, and like for example, Boscore is pretty much one of the, you know, very ahead on this with the 3-second and the IBC.
Yeah, I'm fully on board with involving the side chains. I think they're an important part of the ecosystem, contributing value to the ecosystem as a whole with the technology advancements they're doing, and they're almost little testing grounds. All these little side chains, we're experimenting with different approaches and different technologies that could eventually be brought back into the mainnet, or at least benefit the mainnet through, you know, IBC. So I absolutely think that side chains are an important part of the ecosystem and should be included.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. Has anyone reached out to Meet One, Boss, or any other side chain?
Yeah, we are talking to Boss. Eve is introducing us to Boss, and we are also talking to Watts for them to participate, and
cool.
Really open to other side chains. And I think that this should be an EOS.io ecosystem actually event.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like Boss is interested in participating in one way or another. They'll be representing in Rio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Before, I think maybe one thing we can talk about maybe is this kind of the structure of this event. But before we get into that, are there any other topics or themes or speakers anyone wanted to raise before we moved on to the kind of more, I guess, just the nitty gritty details of what this will look like from a schedule perspective, for example? Okay, let's move on to that, and we'll keep it high level for now. Obviously, as we're still a couple months away, and we're going to be gathering feedback and seeing who we can get on board as a speaker. But one thing we can think about is how much, like, what is the right balance between, for example, talks and open networking, and how much time do we want to carve out for people, someone speaking on stage, and for panels. We'll probably have things like keynotes, panels, and probably some, we want to have some breathing room between that thing, those things. So do you guys have any thoughts on what the right mix is?
Well, I don't know if this is a right way to ring it over, but thinking about, remember what EOSurf is. Are you guys familiarized with this? What we did in Costa Rica for the Tico blockchain? That we start in the mornings with surf lessons.
Cool. Yeah, refresh our memories a little bit more on that.
Yeah, well, in Costa Rica, the event was pretty small. It was just one day. The name of the event is Tico Blockchain. In that, the whole day was, conferences, people talking about EOS and blockchain in general. But after the conference, as this was just one day, after the conference, we went to a different event called EOSurf. And what we did there was taking lessons or learn. Some of the people who went to the event already knew how to surf, right? But some of the people we went for the lessons and a way to learn how to surf. And then it was pretty interesting because it brought to the community this opportunity to learn and as well to do this network, right? With a lot of developers that, they always wanted to go and experience and have this experience of learning surfing. And
I know I want to learn how to surf. That's one of my goals for in Rio.
Yeah, nice. Then it was pretty cool. And then it's a very nice, I think it could be a very, very nice way to start the day, start meeting people that you will meet later on the event. So we were thinking something. Can I share my screen?
Sure.
We were thinking we could do something like this. On a schedule, I don't know if it's pretty aggressive, but we were thinking about, getting up 5:45 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Having a little breakfast just to energy up and start the lessons. Maybe some people don't want to learn to surf. Maybe some people want to just do some yoga or stuff. And I don't know, this experience could bring something different, right, to the event. You can always go to an event, but how many times you learn something in the process? So
does it need to be like 6 a.m?
Yeah, probably.
Really? Because of the waves and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how are the stuff, how are the waves in Rio, right?
I
This is
can
something we gotta put
Daniel
together.
I can see Daniel reconsidering his plan.
You know what? I think it's worth it for me. It's on my bucket list to learn how to surf, and I think it's a great opportunity also to bond with the rest of the community. You know, it's a cool kind of team building kind of exercise.
Exactly.
And yeah, no, I think that would be a lot of fun. And it's a big part of the Latin American culture, I take it, or in particular Brazil. Is surfing very, very popular for, I guess, at least if you're on a coast part of Brazil?
Yeah, it's popular. It's fairly popular, and I think that we can do this, Rodolfo, near the venue. So people, I think it's possible to do that in Copacabana, and maybe we can really check if it's possible to do it later. I don't know if you talked to Luis already.
Okay.
But if we are doing near the venue, actually, it's probably easier. But I mean, it's an awesome idea just to get people and to create this kind of environments for people to meet out of the conference. This is amazing. Yeah, you surf, and you're planning on doing this, okay, every day?
Yeah, well, we're thinking we could probably at least 3 days, you know, because learning to surf is not a one-day experience. And yeah, we definitely need at least 3 days. And in the beginning, we thought, well, let's go for 4, and then we can move from there, right?
Yeah.
And is this something you envision? Like, we would have surfing instructors, or is this like we've got enough experienced surfers in this community who will be here to help you guys out?
No, I think it's about instructors here.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, definitely it's something that we need some instructors over there.
Yeah.
We talked with Bruno in the beginning, and he was pointing to some other guy that has a lot of experience in Rio. But yeah, I think we gotta start from ground zero here, right, Thiago? Do you know something about that? Do you know something about the previous conversations with Bruno and
so he's a more experienced. I think he have a surfing school.
Exactly.
The only thing I would point is that we have to check the logistics, because this would get really hard, I think, if people, because if you're going to Barra, which is where Bruno have the school, you probably have to like leave Copacabana. If you want to arrive there at 5:45, you have to leave Copacabana like 5:15, so you have to wake up at 5. So maybe, but I mean, we can mix people from the community and also people like instructors. I think it would be great to have you. Probably you surf, Rodolfo, and Luis. That was with EOS Surf, and other like Ryan surfs and other people surf. So it would be awesome to have everyone like together there, surfing, learning, and teaching. But I'll talk to Luis and check that out. The real logistics here, I'll check that out with Luis.
Right on. Yeah, it's something that we can discuss later. You want to bring it over to the table, and yeah, for sure, all the details can be fixed later, right?
Awesome. Daniel, thank you. Daniel, just something for me not to forget. As for the schedule, one thing that I was thinking, and I was even discussing that with Vince, is that, I mean, I like panels, but I like shorter, and this is maybe more personal. I'm not a specialist in that, but shorter like content delivery, things like up to 20 minutes, and maybe a panel, if you have a great panel, you go like 30 or 40 minutes, but not with that many people in the panel, because some panels that we had, or that we had in other events, like you have like 4 panelists and you have one like host, and you have just 5 people, that it's kind of hard to organize this in delivering the content, because everyone have to like pitch themselves. And if we have like one host and like two panelists, or 3 at most, I think it's better. And as we talked like yesterday, I really think that it's important that we have a way to include people that are attending online, and have a great experience for people that are attending online, because we understand that it's hard to get the global community in a place, and Rio is not the most like central place in the world. It's the most beautiful, but it's like hidden away. So so this is also.
Are we set up well logistically to support like live stream kind of, if we need to get somebody on a Zoom call to speak on a panel, are we going to be able to hear them well, and are they going to be able to hear us? Because I've been to some events where they've tried to do that, and it ends up being a bit of a mess because of the technology limitations. But if we're comfortable with the AV system there, and maybe we do some testing ahead of time, I think that'd be awesome for sure.
Yeah, we have Igor, which is a hardcore engineer, and he is also a video and an audio guy. He used to do that, so he's taking care of everything, so that we have the possibility of live streaming the conference, having like keynotes that are live streamed back to us, and try to just get this interaction with people participating, sending questions.
Even audience participations from those watching the live stream. That would be really cool. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Make it a truly global conference.
Yeah, that's the objective. Yeah.
I like that, and yeah, I think you're right. Keeping the panels smaller, and the length of time shorter, and giving some breathing room too. One of the things I learned from the Tulip Conference recently, we had that really jam packed. It was like back to back speakers, panelists, not really much time between anything for people to breathe. I think we would definitely benefit from giving a little bit more breathing room for this one. And especially since we've got a few days, we're gonna do the unconference. We got 2 days of unconference afterwards. We got the blockchain, more general blockchain before, and the dev workshops. So we can keep this kind of focused, have some room to relax, in addition to learn and get to know each other. Alberto, I see you've got see ya, Adam. Take care. Alberto, I see you've got you posted something here about Family EOS. Did you want to talk about that briefly?
Family EOS is the program that I mentioned before. In Venezuela, as you might know, or if you don't know, I will tell you now. In Venezuela, there's an extreme censorship over the economy of the citizens. There's no way that you can send money from outside to Venezuela to a bank account, because the bank won't allow it. And there's no way to exchange our fiat currency for any other currency without the permission of the government. So that has created, a very difficult time in our country and everything. So since the beginning since the ending of the last year, we got into this humanitarian crisis. I don't know if you have heard, it's very difficult to find food, to find medicines in Venezuela. So a lot of organizations and individuals started to ask, hey, how can we send help to Venezuela, economically speaking? And of course, the only literally working way to make that possible is through crypto and blockchain. So we opened this Family EOS program that is an EOS account that everyone can send donation on EOS or any EOS based token. Send it, and we just funnel that to a basic income program in Venezuela that is pretty much we gather poor families or families in need in Venezuela. And while we teach them how to adopt a blockchain-based economy, like, hey, this is a wallet, this is cryptocurrency, and all the benefits that they can have, they start to receive this economic help from donations all over the world. And it's been great. It's been an amazing success and experience for us. We have helped so far more than 500 people in Venezuela. Through this, we discovered that we could pretty much promote some sort of entrepreneurial ideas among the people thinking on crypto and blockchain. So through that, we start to see all these people starting to kind of open up new little businesses or commerce on crypto, and it's been a great experience. And we see how these technologies, for us at least, it's not only an alternative financial tool, it's more like a real solution for many of the problems that we have.
Cool.
So I put that, and I think as an experience, it's been great how we could take all this technology and make it such a social impact for many of the realities that we have here.
This idea of like a basic income, UBI, URI, is a really interesting topic that also could tie together really all the technology, governance, social use cases, especially now with voice launching, and there's going to be provably unique accounts. And we've got, a governance topic we could talk about. What do we want to do with inflation? Do we want to take 1% of EOS inflation and distribute it equally to unique accounts? So it kind of, that's a governance topic. The technology is, wow, now we have provably unique accounts. And the use case, obviously, as you mentioned, there's a need for this especially in certain parts of the world. So yeah, that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. We're almost an hour in. Is there any other things that we wanted to talk about on this first call before we wrap it up?
Just a quick thought. I agree with Thiago about how we display the content. I really like the TED Talk structure, I guess. It's something that you can tell that people won't pay attention to something for more than 15 minutes. Beyond that, you're just gonna lose people, in the way. And if we really want to make this conference about sharing, ideas, projects, and tools that actually can have tangible benefits, we need to make it the most efficient way possible. So I think I would put on the table the idea of maybe having different time ratios for certain talks or presentations, like playing with 12 minutes, 15 minutes, and maybe 20 minutes. That would be my thoughts on that.
But for keynotes and panels?
Well, the panels will work differently. That's actually a discussion, so that requires more time. But just for keynotes and individual presentations, yeah, I would say that the best times that we have had in our experience is from 15 minutes, maybe 20 tops.
Yeah, I agree.
But beyond that, people just get lost.
Eyes start glazing over and nodding off. What do you guys think is the sweet spot for panels? I guess it depends on the size of the panel and the topic. And
what I put here is like 30 to 40 minutes with 2 to 3 panelists.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
So something about the panels is like, do we want the panels to be a lot of people that agree with each other, or more like debate, like confronting visions? I think that would be the most.
That's definitely more interesting. We want to see different ideas and different perspectives, and yeah, I agree. It's still a lot more interesting, and gives us a broader perspective of, rather than just only getting exposed to one idea. Those who are watching can broaden their horizons.
Yeah, well, so if we're having like actually confrontations of ideas on these panels, we will have to have it like very structured, because, for example, if you watch a debate between, I don't know, let's say Bitcoin Jesus and Tom Vase, that in some point that it's going to get kind of heated. So if you just keep it open, like, oh yeah, this is a panel, it could get messy, just messy on how you deliver the information. So if we're going to have panels like that, maybe we should have very structured, like first you have 2 minutes to present your first argument. And then we do, I don't know, if it's 4 people, well, 2 minutes each. And then another, let's say 3 minutes for counter arguments. And then maybe just a final open 5 minutes so everybody can just jump in and say something if they like. So we could keep it structured and have time for everybody to actually put
more like a straight debate than a panel.
Yeah.
So well, yeah, the idea of debates is actually that's not a bad idea. What do you think, Tiago?
I would actually like try to structure this not to turn into a confrontational debate. Because if you are into a debate and we put one people against another, they will just try to win.
They're trying to win instead of sharing ideas.
You're not benefiting the community. So I will try to structure from the organization perspective as something that it's okay. We are not doing like a beauty context here to say who is better. Like if we are talking about stable coins, for instance, I wouldn't go and say, okay, algorithm versus fully backed, go fight and tell me who's better. But I'll try to say, okay, which would be the case, the use case for each one. What would be the difference between one and another? Is there a timing question? And try to elaborate questions in that way. And I would use panel. I agree with you. I would use panels when we have something of like not a disagreement, but different point of views that we want to confront and maybe evolve.
Yeah.
Because we don't need to discuss like 3-second lib or maybe those technology stuff, because it's just about presenting what's being done and people saying what they are doing, because there's no way that we are doing this, making this a technical thing. But on governance, we should try to like incorporate every point of view that we can, and just let people say, okay, this is my point of view, and this is why I think this is important, and the other people trying to understand that and maybe elaborate on that. And I think that for governance and for use cases also, because like you have different strategies here, like and you are in the financing, both like moneda par and family use. You are kind of in the same general objective with different approaches. So it's good to understand why you're approaching the same problem in a different way and what works for each of you, and maybe just learning with each other and teaching the audience at the same time in this kind of panel. I would try to structure that in a non-adversarial way.
Yeah, as long as we have a strong moderator, I think it can be managed, even if there is disagreement and heads button.
Yeah. We have Vince. Vince is like black belt in Krav Maga. He can kill you through Zoom, actually.
All right.
I don't really know why Tiago likes to mention that, but I really agree on the position that we should choose good moderators to each panel, because this is something that will like high level the event. We've been seeing on other events that we had like great people participating on the panel, but the moderator wasn't like managing the event so well. So this is something that we should like give some effort for this, because this could change the quality of the event and the rhythm of the event. So
Absolutely.
I must agree, this is a good point for us to like really spend some energy.
Yeah. Moderators for the panels and a strong MC to kind of keep the entire, like the overall day and like on time and the right vibe and all that sort of thing. Cool. I think this was a very productive, we talked a lot of, came up with a lot of themes, a lot of ideas for specific topics. Does anyone else have anything else to add before we wrap up? And we're going to start doing more of these going forward. We're thinking about doing these weekly at some point. Tiago, do you know when we were planning to start the weekly calls?
Actually, probably like, I don't know. We need to work on this, because we probably want to get the schedule done like in 4 weeks or so that we have also time to organize everything.
Yeah, we need to get people, flights and visas of whoever needs to come. So we need to make sure that the speakers know that they're speakers sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
So yeah,
so probably it will be good to have one next week maybe, and we do this series like this 4 in a row, so that we get this done, and then we can move on to execution.
Okay. So tentatively, let's say same time next week. We'll confirm amongst each other in the chats, but I think this time works well for most of us, and we can keep it consistent once a week until we feel happy about our agenda and our list of speakers. So yeah, thanks guys for joining. Really looking forward to this event. Looking forward to continuing to structure the agenda. We're very proud. EOS Nation is really proud to be sponsoring this, and like we think this is going to be an amazing event. So yeah, let's keep it up, and we'll see you all next week.
Awesome. Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you. See you guys. Have a good day, everyone.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, guys. We'll see each other next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.